is a presentation of BFA Sports.
Hi everybody, I'm Chris Lozzi. This is BFA Sports Live coverage of Hammonton football tonight. The coach's show as usual with the coach, Jim Raso. We are at the D. Donato Family Fun Center like we are each week. And I told you in the beginning of the season to look at the schedule and give us an idea of where you guys are going to be. And, you know, you gave us the standard answer. We have to compete. We have to compete well and all those things. Coming off of probably one of the most difficult defeats at Delsea. When you break this game down, you get the ball first. It's a fumble. It's a score. It's an interception. It's a score. At that point, what is your mindset?
You can't start any game like that, let alone against a team like Delsea. You can't give them any extra possessions. So, you know, we dug ourselves quite a hole in the beginning, and it's just, you know, poor execution and turnovers. You know, and that's something that we always preach is getting turnovers and taking care of the football. And, you know, we didn't do that. And at that point, you know, we're just trying to see what we can get going on either side of the ball at that point.
A lot of quality opponents this year, which kind of contributes to the seeding. Here you are now sitting at 4-4, and you're fifth in the Group 3 seedings as far as the postseason is concerned. So obviously, because of those quality opponents, you're talking about some strength of schedule, and you're talking about some points that you got. That makes this game coming up against Ocean City a fairly large football game.
Yeah, and you know, plus they're in our group as well, and you know, we want to try to quote unquote get back on track, and in order to do that, it's doing the little things, you know, we didn't do. You know, we were coming off a tough loss against Timber Creek, and then, you know, just physically Delsea took it to us. There's no other word to describe it other than we were physically overmatched. And, you know, so going into this week, we want to try to get back on track, start making sure we're doing the little things right, and try to get some momentum going into the postseason.
So getting back to the Delsea game, it seemed like they were much taller on the line. I mean, they had advantages in size and all of that, but still, I mean, you know, if it wasn't for that pick, I think at least you can right the ship a little bit. So you see it on the sideline. I mean, we're talking about high school. This isn't college. This isn't pro. But, I mean, you look up and you got 2 turnovers against you and 2 scores, and it was a difficult battle.
It's demoralizing. It is. It is. And, you know, the mentality has to be, okay, what are we going to do to respond? And I don't necessarily know that we've had that mentality at that point. And that's something that we're constantly trying to preach to the team, whether they're a senior right now playing in their, you know, their last regular season game, all the way down to, you know, some of the sophomores who are playing, is at those particular moments, that's when you need to step up even more so and not let the moment take you over, but you now take the moment over.
So, as you know, I was at another institution on Friday, and that team is 0-8. But, you know, when you get a chance to look at the film, which I know you do the very next day. So today I had a chance to really look at the game film on BFA, of course, on YouTube, by the way. Some performances that are worth mentioning, Joey Gillen still. I mean, he was, I'm not going to say he made some big plays because, you know, the score was so lopsided, but he was in presence that night.
When Joe's making his plays, they're usually explosive plays, and there's something that's going to jump out when he makes those plays, you know. And you know, we're trying to get things to be consistent across the board, you know. With Joe, with everybody, it's right. Just make plays, but be consistent in making your plays, you know. And that's what we got to get back to this week, is being consistent in what we're doing.
And we'll come back and we'll talk about getting consistency, because it's Ocean City next week, and then, of course, the playoffs, which will be in Hammonton's future. We're live at the Donato Family Fun Center in Hammonton here on BFA.
Newest thing from Pizza Hut isn't pizza at all. It's cheesy, so crispy, loaded with toppings, and just $6.99. Enough for two, price for one. New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99.
I be like, sheesh.
Back with the coach, Jim Raso. I'm Chris Lozzi. This is BFA Sports live coverage of Hammonton football this season. I say that every week about, we got a high school program on television and how good the exposure is. And, of course, with that comes the coach's show where you get to talk all about what went well and what didn't go well. And we're recapping a game against Delsey last week. But the one thing that is very impressive about this team is they have a short memory.
You have to. You have to, especially where we tried to tell them you blink an eye and before you know it, the season's going to be over. And this is the last regular season game.
Yeah, it's true.
And you think about how fast everything went. So, it's a big week in terms of we got homecoming this week. We're going to have all our youth organization there as well. The Hawks will be there as well. And, should have a good crowd out there. And for the seniors, it's their last regular season game. So if you can't come ready to play this week, then there's something seriously wrong at that point.
Red Raiders come in, Ocean City. I like the way you said it, because it's like a league game, if you will, and it's a common opponent. Where do you see yourself matched up against them?
I think in terms of they've also played a tough schedule, and the games that they've won, they were in a battle, same as us, and the games that they lost, they lost for reasons that we were mentioning why we're losing games. So it's going to come down to which team is going to execute better and which team is going to want that. They're fighting for their playoff lives as well. They're in it right now, and they're trying to improve their seed. So if we're not good enough to show up and say, okay, yeah, we're going to beat a team by just showing up. We're not good enough to do that. But we can be, and this is what we keep telling the kids, we can be a very good football team when we execute, when we do the little things. And that's the goal for this week, is try to play 4 quarters of our best football, because we still haven't done 4 quarters of our best football yet.
For those of you who don't know, the playoff seedings go in a group of 16. And obviously the top 8 would get a home game. So as it stands right now, you are in the 5th seed, which would give you a home game. I'm not that good at this math.
We have a couple coaches that are very good at it.
So tell me what.
We could wind up anywhere from a 5th to an 8th, depending on what we do. I don't think we'll get any higher than 5th. So,
and you won't get any lower than 8th?
I don't believe so.
So that would guarantee a home game?
We'll be somewhere in that range. Again, that was best case scenarios. Now, there may be some residuals in there, and maybe teams jump up. I don't know. But I think they have us somewhere in that range between 5th and 8th.
So what he's saying is that people who are smarter than us actually sat down and did the math and tried to figure this out.
One of our assistant coaches does it every single year.
Who is it?
Frank Lasasso, young Frank Lasasso, who actually was coaching at Ocean City last year, is on our staff.
Wow.
And he's a math teacher, and this is he would do it for us
Really?
as well, even being at Ocean City. Obviously, he played for the program, and
that's good.
his dad coaches for our program as well.
How much do you trust him in those calculations?
He's been dead on the past
He's the Joe
couple years.
Lunardi of this?
Yep.
Okay.
For the past 2 years, what he put out the day before the brackets came out, he's been dead on.
So, would it be advisable not to mention that to the kids? Now, you didn't hear anything, just so you know.
No, I listen.
Yeah.
Bottom line is we want to win this game. I'm not worrying about seedings where we're at after what happened last week. Let's get back to work and win a football game,
Right.
and everything else will take care of itself.
As you mentioned it, though, now that we have this information behind us, it's a home game in the playoff and a deserved home game. I mean, you had quite a schedule and some quality wins, too. I mean, Highland's no slouch. That's number one. Let's start at the beginning because this season started off fantastic. Down there, in the battle at the beach, and the St. John Vianney program, or maybe they lost a step, but they're still a very, very good program. You're thinking really good things about your program after that win, right?
Yeah, and I still think very good things about our program. If you take away, and we talked about this already, in terms of what happened at Cherokee, first half,
you got a lead at halftime.
Yeah, lead at half, and then
Yeah.
things got away from us.
Yeah.
We went toe-to-toe with Mainland and came up short at the very end of the game.
Yep.
We went toe-to-toe with Timber Creek, came up short at the very end of the game. And, there are two games that could have went either way. And if you make a couple more plays and make a few less mistakes, there's two possible more wins. But on the turn of it, we played Eastern. That game could have got away from us as well.
Yeah.
So, we're trying to just see where the consistency is going to be for this last game. Getting mentally, physically prepared, and then hopefully just go out there and execute at our best.
Try to translate that from a standpoint of consistency, offense, running game, or passing game, or it doesn't matter. What are you saying when you say you want consistency?
In terms of less penalties,
Okay.
because that's something that's been hurting us. Us turning the ball over, okay, and then matching. And what I mean by matching is, when we are throwing the ball, having the protection, making the right read, and the catch. What's been going on at times is we'll have good protection, we'll make the right read, and don't catch the football. Or there'll be a breakdown on the read, or there'll be a breakdown on the pass protection. So we're trying to get those things to match up in the run game, okay? Getting positive yards and then turning the ball over, or getting positive yards and then getting a penalty. So right now we're not matching, and that's what we're trying to focus on, is getting everything. You're never going to have a perfect game across the board, okay? But we're trying to get is being consistent and knock out the penalties, knock out the turnovers. If a team's going to beat us, they're going to beat us because they're better than us, not because of things that we're doing to help them beat us.
You mentioned on the offense, this was Drew's first year with the program as a transfer. You're down 7. I want to go back to the game for a second. You're down 7-0, and he puts a perfect pass, which is a deflection. So I see.
And
where
that's
you're
the
getting.
part of matching.
Yeah.
We had good protection, good throw. Ball hits off one of our kids' hands, and they intercept it. And that's part of what we're saying is, okay, well, we have the blocking taken care of, we got the read taken care of, we got a great throw taken care of. Got to catch the football at that point.
Would you want to see more out of the running game this week?
Absolutely. Between the tackles has been a little bit tough sled in the past couple weeks, which for us that's not a good thing, So we got to get back to being able to not only run
Yeah, but
inside
those are big
and
boys
outside.
you looked at for us.
Listen, they
both
are.
games.
They are, and you're some of the size doesn't match up, but you can't make excuses. You got to go out there and try to execute out. But getting penalties and turning the ball over isn't going to help either.
When we come back on our next segment, we're going to talk about our guest last week. Remember Ms. Bell?
Miss
That
Bell,
was
oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
she was
So
first one to ask about the show tonight.
hold your thought. We'll come back with that. We got another special guest, all that and more. The Coaches Show comes back live at the Donato Family Fun Center. We're in Hammonton. Back with more after this.
Pizza Hut isn't pizza at all. It's cheesy, so crispy, loaded with toppings, and just $6.99. Enough for two, price for one. New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99.
I be like, sheesh.
Welcome back, and as you can see, we're joined here at the table. I'll tell you in a second who it is. Donato Family Fun Center. It's the Coaches Show, Hammonton Football. That's Jim Raso. And as we do this each week, we're going to keep you in suspense. We're not going to announce who you are for a second. But as we do this each week, what does this guy do? Don't tell him who he is, but what does he do?
He's somebody, okay, in terms of showing up every single day, ready to work. And when we talk about wanting guys to do all the little things, this is one of the guys that's going to roll his sleeves up and is going to do all the little things. And in terms of having success on the field, you know, there's times he might not even be in there every single play, okay, determined on what formation we're in or what defense we're playing. But I will say he's right there, ready to call his name, ready to go. And when he is in there, he gives you 100%. And like I said, if everybody has that kind of attitude, you'd never hear one of the coaches complain.
He's number 24, Caden Gamble. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Coach.
What did you like that, by the way?
I did, yes. That was
That's spot on.
yes. That
You
was
agree
spot
with
on.
that?
I agree with that. I'm out there every day. You know, hard work. You know, it's what he wants from everyone. But you know, you really got to show that when you're on the field practicing and you know, doing it every week. So.
When did you know that he picked you for this little cameo?
Today actually during practice, coach came up to me and asked me if I wanted to be on the show, and of course, you know, I had to say yes. So
You did?
yes.
Yeah. Coach, what is the criteria in picking a player for this show? Because last week, you tell me nobody was good enough that you went with Miss Bella?
Nah, listen, and having Miss Bella on, in its terms of trying to reward her, you know.
By the way, do you know who Miss Bella is?
I do not.
So Miss Bella is the one that's always giving the blue bags out to the players.
Mhm.
Okay,
Now you
so
do.
I do know.
so Miss Bella does a lot for the program, and you know, we just basically wanted to have her on as a thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't in terms of anything with the players. It was we wanted to try to have her on, but in terms of, you know, picking players, you know, depends on, you know, 1 week we had the captains and
Yeah.
we talked about we had the linemen, but you know, wanted to recognize Caden just because, like I said, he's one of those guys when the going gets tough. He's one of those guys that want to step up and will do whatever he can. He got in the game on defense last week, and they're running, you know, 250-pound, 300-pound guys
Yeah,
at
they're
him.
big.
And
They were big.
he was stepping right in there, didn't blink an eye, took on whatever he had to take on, and still trying to make plays. And, you know, that says a lot about his character and, you know, what not just myself, but what the whole staff feels about Keith.
When you
Thank
make
you.
the go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
When you make the announcement, do you just pull the kids in individually? Say,
I
"Hey,
just
you're gonna
talk
be on
to
the
'em
show?"
individually,
So you
yeah.
don't let the okay.
Yeah.
You don't let the whole like say, guess who's on the show this week?
Nah, I
No?
just to
You
me,
don't
I
do-
just want to. It's a personal
Okay.
invitation, you know, which
Yeah.
you know felt that he earned the right to be here.
Last week was tough.
Yes.
We talked about before. I know you were sitting there. It's been a tough season on that side, but you're 4-4, and we've talked to seniors a lot, and especially Joey Gillen, who's he's one of my favorite players.
Yep, Joey.
First of all, in your role, what you do, because you're like, I guess it's a Swiss Army knife. You can play special teams, you can do this, you can do that, you can do all those things. You get the experience to talk to guys like Joey and Kenny on offense, guys like that. What is your mentality when you are in the game and you're on the field with them, sharing the field with them?
My mentality really is, you know, I tell them we have to get this done. You know, we have to keep, you know, doing what we're doing, whether it's like cleaning up these mistakes that we have, you know, if we're going off sides, you know, just saying for everyone, like, got to come together and get stuff done when we're out there.
You heard me say to Coach, particular, it was a big game on paper last week before the ball was kicked, and it's really tough to bounce back from 2 turnovers right off the bat. Are you the guy on the sideline that says, "Hey guys, we got a lot of time left"? Is that you, or you just
Yes,
do-
I was.
Yeah?
I was actually telling them, you know, it was first quarter when things started going downhill for us, and told the guys, you know, we still got this whole 10 minutes and 3 quarters left to play. You know, let's go out and play and do what we do. So.
What is the mentality this week in practice? I mean, you're one of the guys, and you know, what's the talk about? Anything about Delsey, or is that all over with?
No, we
Flushed?
always yes, flushed. We always say, like, you know, film room Saturday, if put it behind us if you know we don't come to our expectations that game. But this week it's been a lot of seriousness, especially during practices. You know, taking it very seriously, and you know.
You, as I'm going to call you basically like a pseudo captain. I mean, you're up here. I mean, you're one of the leaders on the team as a senior. You got a responsibility to make sure that these guys know to not be complacent, because I mean, everybody can tell you're in the playoffs, regardless. But how important is it to go in the playoffs with a win?
Very important, because that depends on, you know, our spot in the playoffs and our seed. So we're just taking this game, this Ocean City game. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna show them what we can do, and Yeah, go on there.
Yeah?
Go on from there.
You're natural on TV, you know that.
Am I?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing bad.
Why?
I don't know.
Just look right there through that camera. You know, we had Ron Jaworski on. We had our memorial for my friend Coffee, and he said, Chris, when that light goes on, 22 million people are going to watch. Now that's a little bit nerve-wracking.
That's a little nerve-wracking, yes.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Caden Gamble, everybody. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Coach's Show with Jim Raso. We're live in Hammonton at the DiDonato Family Fun Center on BFA. Wrapping up our latest edition of the Coach's Show with Jim Raso here at Hammonton at the DiDonato Family Fun Center. I always say to myself when we come here, I'm going to try and sneak in a couple, rounds of bowling. You know, it's a good spot. Do you bowl here?
Used to.
Used to?
Yeah, my back just
No?
isn't what it used to be.
It's funny because I pitched for 14 years in men's fast pitch in South Philly. It ruined my bowling because as a pitcher, you plant that foot. So now you plant my foot at the line and the ball goes all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'm done.
It's a lot of fun. I love bowling. Just my back doesn't.
That's why they call it the
Doesn't allow
Family
me to do it.
Fun Center, right?
That's it.
So, you're getting ready. It's Wednesday. We're live, so that means we got 2 more days. Yeah. I ask you this every week. What kind of week of practice did you have?
I think that after the tough loss that we had, I think the kids have been bouncing back in a good way.
Yeah.
I thought offensively we had a good practice, and then today was our mostly defensive practice, and like some of the things that we were doing. And, tomorrow now basically wrapping everything up together and, be ready to go for Friday.
So you mentioned mistakes, and of course that's going to happen. Are you pleased, though, that they aren't repeat mistakes this year? And for the most part, they really aren't, with the exception of penalties.
Yeah, I mean, you just you don't want to look back and say, okay, we had such a good drive going, but we got a penalty. Okay, well,
right.
To me, that's not a good drive.
Understood.
A good drive is completing that drive, no penalty, punching touchdown in, and
right.
That's what I would love for us to see. Come out, get a great opening drive together, no penalties. If they stop us, they stop us. but don't stop ourselves
Yeah.
by playing behind the chains.
What kind of game do you expect?
You know, I'm hoping on our end that we're going to step up and be much more physical this week. You know, they have some really outstanding skill guys between the wide receiver, number one, who kind of does a little bit of everything for them, and their running back. He's an inside-outside kind of guy. And the quarterback's been very consistent in what he's doing. So, you know, we have to really step up in terms of knowing where these guys are and how they're trying to attack us.
Sounds like they're going to spread you out a little bit on defense.
Yeah, they've shown a little bit of everything, you know, in terms of who they're playing against. They're running certain formations. So, you know, we'll see. I would imagine we'll probably see some spread stuff as well, yeah.
It's a great way to end it, folks. Ocean City, and it's Friday night, and it's live right here at 7 o'clock here
7
on.
o'clock.
Sometimes you have to, you know, there's 6
I
and
know.
7s, right?
Yep, 7 o'clock.
And it's here, it's live on BFA Sports coverage at 7 o'clock for the whole gang, and we'll see you one more time because we do have a postseason assignment. Here at the Coaches Show, we're live. For the coach, Jim Raso, I'm Chris Lozzi. Thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.